Hey, everybody.
Hello once again.
Welcome to another impromptu Woodshop Live,
Yeah,
starring the Woodshop and Bob.
and Bob. You notice it's unplugged.
How you doing, Bob?
Doing
It's
okay. It's
unplugged.
been a busy day, man. Busy.
Yeah?
Ever since I got up. Went
What
and
you been doing?
got some queen cells and made some cinnamon honey mixed nuts and
Look at that.
sold $130 worth of honey in my front yard. So been busy.
That's all right. That's all right. Yeah, it's been a little bit busy in here too.
So obviously you're
I
on.
love it when it just fits together just like that. Look at that. Goes right together. No problems.
So Brad, what are we doing today in the wood shop?
What are we doing today?
Building birdhouses?
Today in the Woodshop, we're building, birdhouses.
Birdhouses. Bird condos.
We're building bee escapes.
So you're going to put triangles on them?
Yeah. Down. I made the bottom of these fairly deep. I know they're going to build some comb in there, but I need somewhere for the bees to go. And then I don't have all the triangle pieces cut, but there's triangle pieces that go in here.
Then you put a piece of mesh over the hole.
Yeah, and then you put some screen over top. So, and the idea is, that's the upside. That you put that on the hive right above the brood chamber. Well, you can put it above, if you want to take one honey super, then put it under the honey super you want. But you put it under the honey super you want to take. And it takes a couple of days to clear. It works best in honey flow too. If you don't have a honey flow, it doesn't work as well. So the bees will go down through this hole. They want to go down, they want to cycle down to, they want to go see the queen, is kind of the idea. So they'll go down there.
Get back out.
And there's, the triangle pieces make a bit of a labyrinth here. So they come down and then they have to go sideways away from the hole to escape and get into the bird chamber. And the idea is that with the screen here, that the bees below the bee escape, they can kind of sense the honey here and they want to go get the honey, but they don't really figure out that they have to go over to the outside of the labyrinth and start that way. So that's kind of how it works.
Do you have a rule of thumb on how many days per box that you leave it on, or
no? I've left them anywhere from a day to 4 days or so, and if it's not going to work in a couple of days, it's not going to work. I don't know if they figure it out after a while. They might. I wouldn't say more than about 4 days, 4 or 5. Generally, I want to have 1 or 2 yards worth of bee escapes, so I can set a yard maybe day 1, set a yard day 2, and then day 3 or day 4, then I'd go harvest the first yard, take those bee escapes, set them on yard 3.
Now, have you made those before, or is this your first go?
Yeah, no, I have. I've made quite a few. And the other ones I made, I didn't make them as deep here. And that's why I kind of thought I'd like to have a little bit extra space there for the bees. And the fact that, on the bottom, the labyrinth is on the bottom, so it uses up some space. And sometimes when I put the bee escape on, it's later in the season, I want to put a pollen patty on there. So a little bit of space. Maybe even, an happy tablet, for example. You can do that. And, whatever else you might do. I wouldn't put something like a formic treatment on because the bees are going to be repelled to that. They're not going to want to go through the escape. So, yeah, I've been using these for quite a while. I'm happy with them. I've got some manufactured ones from our people who build our boxes. They make a good system. It's different than this one. It's different. I don't have any examples in my shop to show you, but it has little cones and screen and stuff. there's a lot more screen involved. So I feel that they're not as robust. Um, I don't want to speak badly about them because they're a good product and they work really well. But I've chosen this kind because it's simple. It's just lumber, it's just plywood. It's no big deal. And the fact that this is one piece of lumber, whereas the one that they build, it's got a shim on the top because it has a screen over pretty well the whole thing. And I've had that little shim come off, and this is far more or less likely to come off. I mean, it can crack, I suppose, but so just the reasons that I choose to build these, I find them fairly simple to build. Um, so I
I don't
don't
know if
have
you
to
can see
buy
the
any
chat or
special
not, but
cones or anything.
Phil donated
I
$20 to
can't
your
actually.
Fresca fund.
Oh, thanks, Phil. Um, I didn't set the chat up so I can see it. I should put that, Bob, entertain the nice folks for a minute. I'm going to put that up on the big screen here.
I don't know if I can do that. I've never done this
I'll be right
before.
back. You've never done this before.
It's my
Well, you
first
can
time.
hear me. You can hear me, but
So I'm gonna tell you what. Brad told me about these. Cinnamon honey nuts. I've never had them, and he got the idea off of another beekeeper up in Nebraska, Kevin
Montfeld is his name. Yeah,
and
he's a heck of a nice guy. I like
and
Kevin.
Brad said how much he loved them, so I thought I would give them a go. And what I did with mine is I had some honey that I left in my warming cabinet a little bit long. It was dark, a little dark. Wasn't burnt flavored or anything like that, but it was definitely darker than my regular honey. And I put some cinnamon in it and nuts in the jar and filled it right up. And I got to taste the last little bit that was in the bowl. Boy, was it ever good. So
now I can see the chat on the big screen.
There you go.
Oh, good. Lots of people. It helps. It helps me to see that because otherwise I'm just talking to
the
camera. I'm talking to Bob, but I mean, as far as an audience, I'm just talking to a camera. But to see people on there, thanks for the $20. Boy, that's thank you very much.
You're officially a Canadian millionaire now.
That will go. Yeah, it's 20. If that's 20 US, man, that'll go a long way. That'll buy me a whole tank of gas.
That's the standing joke around here. So I did use my Queen Caddy today. So of course this is a gadget that I bought 2 years ago. Since Brad says I have the greatest gadget to bees ratio ever.
Yeah, gadget to bees ratio.
So I bought this at Hive Life the last year that it was actually Hive Life. And just a toolbox with a warmer control in it. And it holds 45 queen cells, up to 45. I didn't have that many. I only had 6. But it's 6 Poline queen cells. So now I've got to
hang away here while we talk.
Get hot and get that done. But I think this came from Apis. Yeah, Apis Engineering. But it's probably not too hard. You could probably make this yourself because I know a lot of people.
McNally actually has a video on how he built his.
I mean, this one.
It's a pretty good video.
It actually has I can read all the numbers and everything when I take this piece of foam out of what temperature controller it is. It's a BYT 3A016.
Oh, the old BYT 3A016. Why they don't make them like that anymore?
That's like the VR549 from Hee-Haw.
The Illunium Q space modulator.
But,
Illunium Q36 space modulator. That's what it is.
Really, it's just a toolbox with a hole drilled in it and a temperature controller mounted in it. And
they're pretty simple. I think probably the trickiest part about them is likely just the constructing it in such a way where you don't get hot and cold spots, where your heat is fairly
Well,
uniform.
that one's made out of metal, but you could very easily make it out of a plastic box of some sort, like a dive case or something like that. And I know that one was quite expensive when I bought it.
They all are quite expensive, as I recall. That's why I don't own one.
Well, you know, it's a gadget. You got to buy the gadget. Let's see how much.
Yeah, when I got into beekeeping, I realized that there's pluses and minuses to the idea of going from hobby to, either sideline or commercial. Commercial meaning that's your only job, really. And the benefit is, I can go and spend a couple $1,000s on a spinner. I can go and spend a couple $1,000s on my hive lifter without even batting an eye, right? Because I know I can make money on it. I can, or whatever, right? It impacts the bottom line. But if you're a hobbyist and you want a cool gadget, like if you're a hobbyist, and I don't want to start a controversy here, but if you're a hobbyist and you want a flow hive, go buy a flow hive, right?
Right.
Commercial guy, even if I thought flow hive, well, I do think flow hive is really cool. Even if I wanted one,
well, to give you an idea,
I'm going to spend $700 for one honey super, right? So there's kind of a real balance there.
That the 2024 price on Apis Engineering site, I just looked it up for that toolbox, $300. It's like $299.
That's actually cheaper than a lot of them.
But then I told you about the bottle filling machine I got before the Hilco one and all that was out, right? That thing was $1,500. So just those two items, you can imagine I spent almost $2,000 on those. And that's really the first time I've used that one. So I've had it for 2 years and haven't used it at all. And the bottle filler I've used one time. So, it's and we talked about this yesterday too with the bottle filler. Was my opinion with my setup is that it doesn't do me any good because of my bottling tank and valve. I can fill it up just as easy as
I remember you talking about that when you got it. That was shortly after I met you, and you made a good point. And the thing that really spoke to me was, again, like I was just saying, when I'm trying to make money doing this, I'm trying to make a living. Cool things are cool, but what really spoke to me in your argument was, if I overfill a jar by 1 ounce 1,000 times, that machine pays for itself.
Right.
That was the argument that spoke to me. I hadn't really thought of that. So that's why that machine would really speak to me.
And it's easier than lifting the buckets up.
Well,
when you're lifting 4,200 pounds.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, the people don't know the story. We don't pack honey here as a rule, but I wanted to pack some honey. We're having a charity event next weekend, and I wanted to pack some honey for them. And so I packed 600 pounds of honey. My wife helped me, and I counted up the number of times I lifted it. And the worst time was I had to lift a 50-pound pail this high to dump it into the bottling pail. So I counted up the number of times I lifted that honey, and it was 4,200 pounds of honey I lifted that one day.
The last time I
didn't feel very good yesterday.
Last time I took the 5-gallon pail and I had to lift it up like that, which was the last time I lifted a 5-gallon pail. Yeah. The whole thing slipped into the bottling tank, pail and all.
It's not hard to have an incident at all. Like usually, get away with quite a few of them, but then your arms get tired and stuff, so then you have a problem. So yeah, having something that pumps it is the deal. I haven't really been watching the chat. I need a tax break for a 2024 so I can get a new Hilco spinner and a 20-foot Connex
and his tax return paid for him.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to write some things off.
Yeah, well, that's when you're running a business, that's the it's not the benefit, but I mean,
It's one of the perks.
well, you got to pay for it. Still,
Right.
you can't just say, "Oh, it's a write-off, just go buy it." No, you still got to pay for it. But it's a business expense, so at least they don't make you pay tax on that money.
Well,
Because
I know a lot of people have looked at my video from the weekend where I was selling honey. So I'll kind of give an update on my honey sales while you're nailing.
4 done, 40 to go.
I did between Saturday and Sunday, I sold right at $305.
Wow.
And this morning I sold $130 worth. So $430 worth of honey in 3 days.
Good going, man.
But I only actually sat out there one day, Saturday, for 4 hours. The other honey, like this morning, a guy bought 4 3-pound bottles, and of course I got to get them with the creamed honey, so he bought a lemon.
Yeah.
Well, so
yeah.
So
for the time you put in the last couple of days,
$100 an hour.
Pulled in $100 an hour.
$100.
That's all right.
It's not
That's
bad.
Right. You keep thinking about that all the time. You don't get paid to keep bees.
Yeah, it's I've been thinking now I've got these queens. I got to figure out what I'm going to split to put queens in, right? So that's the next thing. I know what it's going to be. I just I've got 3 specific colonies that really could use new queens altogether, but if they're kicking good, then I'm probably going to split those. Somehow make 6 splits out of 3 colonies, right? And leave the original queens where they're at, or split off the original queen and put a cell in. I don't know. Haven't gotten that far yet, because guy said he might have 5 queens, and he ended up giving me 6 cells. So we could have up to 6 queens, or we could have no queens. So
yeah, that's the thing with cells. You could have 0.
Well, the reason you pay more is because your odds go up with every iteration, right? So your odds go up with a virgin a little bit more than a cell. So then you pay a little bit more, and then you get a mated queen. Well, you're not out of the woods yet, but it's the best odds you have, right? So we'll see how that goes as this week.
That's why you're paying more for that mated queen, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Phil said his tax went to more bees.
That's a good place. Of course it did.
But the good thing is he didn't charge me for those queen cells either. He just gave them to me. So.
Oh, nice.
So that's a buddy.
Little donation because you had a bad winter.
Yeah, he's even come over and helped graft, right? So I will be going live tomorrow night. That's the plan. I know I work until 9, so it will be sometime later in the evening.
Oh wow!
The cells are in my queen, or I'm sorry, it's not my queen incubator. The cells are in my chicken egg incubator at 93 F, and the humidity is a bit high in there right now. 80%. Is that too high? Someone tell me. It'll go down as the moisture evaporates out of there.
I would say that's too high.
You wouldn't say it's too high?
No.
I just didn't want them to get all dried out, right?
Well, you need water in there.
Yeah, I've got water in there. I've got a dish with 2 sponges in it, and I have water in the track, so moisture might be a little bit high.
When I do mine in my incubator, I probably got more space than you have in an egg incubator, but I'll put a dish with water, and then I'll put a cloth hanging over like this,
So
and
it
then
wicks.
the water wicks in the cloth, and it
Kind
gives
of
it
what I
some
have. I
time
have the sponges set up
to
at an
dry.
angle so it
Yeah.
sucks it in.
Yeah.
But it's so we'll see. So then when these hatch out, he gave them to me rather early. I was a little bit skeptical on that because
Are you going to merge them in the incubator?
in the incubator, mark them. Why mess with a good
Okay.
thing, right? It works.
Yep.
Hatch them in the
it does.
incubator. I know exactly how many splits I need to have when they hatch.
Well,
Go
you
ahead
need to
and
have your
mark.
splits made before they merge, though, buddy.
Yeah, I will. I'll have them made up this week, and then I will. I'll mark these queens as they come out, right? Like I did before.
I
Put
would.
them in
Anybody doing that, I would say, make your split no less than 4 days before that queen is scheduled to emerge, and a lot of times she'll emerge on day 15. So that's just my advice.
So I'll get those made up. That was one of the things I was going to try to do today. But instead, we're in the wood shop.
We're in the wood shop. Sorry, buddy. I didn't mean to.
It's all your fault, Brad.
No.
Twisted my arm. I could have said no, right?
Well, you
That's
could.
always an option.
You could have.
Very rarely do I.
Oops. I forgot to put the other end.
Hey, everybody smash that thumbs up button if you would for us.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. Thank you.
And if you've got any questions or anything.
Yeah, if you got any questions about woodshop stuff or whatever, anything. How many showing, Bob?
29.
That's pretty good.
True no lifers. 12:44 Eastern time. 30 people in here.
On a Monday. On a Monday. Yeah, we worked at packing that honey on Saturday. We were so tired when we were done. We vegged out all day Sunday. But
Brad
well, I
doesn't-
mean, I did work in here. I milled up some of my lumber.
Brad doesn't know what to do because I leave early now. Go to bed so I can get up the next day to get my schedule right for work.
Yeah. I'm just in a fetal position in the corner crying.
Doug says, when does spring get here? It's already here for us. We're still having a little bit of cold. I mean, it's only 62 right now, but it's hey, there's Ian. Hey, Ian.
Hey, boss. What's going on?
And there's Corey enjoying a coffee. He says he wants 100 of those next week.
Hey, Doug.
Oh,
Who
Doug
wants 100 of these?
Corey says he wants 100 bee escapes next week. Trying to get you some business. So
okay.
Here, I'm gonna
you say it, boy. I'll do it. I'll make it happen, man.
I'm gonna put you big so you can show us your creation here.
Sure.
Since Ian and Corey just came in, you might get. I'm politicking for you.
So you're my sales force.
Your agent.
So
Yeah,
just a basic what they call a Quebec bee escape. Just that's finished on the top, and then there'd be a little triangle labyrinth on the bottom. I've left myself some extra space. It's 3 inches tall overall. That makes them a bit heavy, and it makes them, bigger to store and transport. These are going together really nice. I had to remill all of my lumber today because the groove that I made for the plywood, it was just too tight. It was 3/8 bang on, and I was having a really hard time. So I actually took a 30-second more off of that. And that's
he said
perfect.
it might be 100 two-way pallets.
100 two-way pallets. And Corey wants 100 two-way pallets next week.
Next week.
Well,
but it's got a $1,200 surcharge because you're gonna have to send Bob a plane ticket so he can go help him in the wood shop.
That's right. That's right. Well, it's going to be more than 1,200 because I have to tell Bob to quit his new job.
Yeah. Well, also with your bee escapes, you were saying you'll take those down to the dipper as well and get those wax dipped.
Well, these, yeah, because I'm planning this out a little more, I think, and I might just have them dipped. I just have to dip them before I put the screen on it. I feel I do anyway. I think that would work out a little better.
No, Ian, they're not for an order that I'm aware of. That's just for personal use.
Somebody had asked me for some bee escapes a while ago. If it, I'm making 44 of these. If somebody said they want 10 of them, I would sell them. I do need
Ian,
some.
if you want 1,500 of them, next month, buddy, they'll be there.
Next month, yeah. They're fiddly, they are fiddly. When I get to there's a bit of, milling on these parts, and when I get to putting the labyrinth part together, that's fussy. It's fiddly. I did a video on doing that. I actually had to review my own video so I knew how to build these.
You just need to be a shovel salesman to the miners. You make such a great quality piece of gear that, man, I'm telling you.
I want to make the best shovel there is.
That's it.
Yeah, you betcha. The best shovel there is.
No shortcuts. I've seen him.
We should get some comments from Corey. I haven't heard really. He said that the equipment that I sent him looked nice, but I haven't really heard anything else. If he's actually taken it off the pallet yet. Maybe he hasn't. He's been pretty busy.
We'll have you so busy.
Air compressor.
We'll have you so busy you can't keep bees. You'll be selling too much woodenware. Compressor, you can't hear anything. Oh,
you can't hear it, but I can hear it. Air compressor. Let
me see.
Okay,
I see a red and hear a Bob.
So,
oh yeah, I forgot. I minimized. I'm not on the screen. I'm just talking.
You're not on the screen. You're just a voice from the.
There I am. There's
Bob. There's Bob. We were featuring the bee escapes, DC. So.
But those are different. I mean, the bee escapes that I've seen are basically little more than an inner cover.
Yeah,
I've seen.
Yeah, there are some like that, and and again, I can't speak against anything I haven't used, but I have. I know people who have used them. And
I like the fact that you added extra room in there, so.
And they just said they don't work.
Huh?
Those little ones that clip in that little oval in the inner cover that clips in there. I know people who tried those and they just said they don't work.
Well, I like the fact that you left yourself some room for a patty or something in there.
Yeah, and I found that the bees get so congested when they go down through the escape. I think they need somewhere to go. And I know it's going to cause me combing issues.
If they're like Ian's boxes of bees, after you shake them all down into a single deep, you might need to just take a deep super and make it into a bee escape.
That's right. And then on staples.
You ran out of staples?
Well, no, in the stapler. I've got lots of staples here. I buy them by boxes of like 10,000, but you would be amazed how often I actually run out because I don't keep track very well.
Travis, you must spend a lot of time in the woods, bro. 175 swarm traps. I had a guy call me yesterday asking me, did I sell swarm traps?
Stone River, did Road get me straight with my mic? I haven't gotten the replacement yet, but they told me they told me they would ship it, but I haven't got any tracking information yet. So maybe it takes them a while because I believe the microphone and the receiver and the transmitter are programmed together, because they're typically only sold as a unit. So maybe they have to program it or something. But
Doug
yeah,
said, Doug says he's got Quebec escapes and the cones. He said he never found one better than the other.
Yeah, I've got both too.
I've got a couple with the cones.
I've got both kinds, and I have no dramatic preference. This is actually going really well. Quite pleased. So I went and scavenged up a bunch of plywood from the shed. Just it was pretty awful looking, old odds and ends. And it turned out that I had enough plywood there for 20, 22, I think, 22 or 20 escapes. So this plywood is obviously it's new. So I only had to cut 2 of my sheets of 3/8 in order to get enough. The determining factor was my pine. I only had 12 lengths of pine, and I really needed 14 to make my target of 50 escapes. So I only got 44 out of it.
You could just get with Robert and get some of that maple and stuff. It'll only weigh about 150 pounds of bee escape.
Can you imagine? It would kill me. He'd be coming to my funeral.
It'd be heavy, heavy.
Would be heavy. So what's Ian up to today? What's he doing? I haven't talked to him today.
I don't know why I keep looking at my queen cells. They're not going to hatch any quicker if I look in the box to see.
See if they're walking
just
around.
Standing on a stand, right? They're just standing on my little piece of wood there. I'm like, oh. Trev said, when Bob said he was doing a belt, I said, bet. You need to, buy a GoPro or something. Send me some high quality videos. Cell phones they're speaking the devil, and there he is. There's Robert.
Hey, Robert.
Gentlemen, I was just talking about you. I summoned
you.
Bob
was talking about you.
I told Brad to get some of your maple and stuff, and you can make 175-pound bee escape.
Bob's going for that heart attack. For me to have that heart attack, carrying around 20-pound bee escapes.
Doug says, Brad, have you got a jig for the shims?
No. I use just little 3/8 setup blocks. Oh, do I have a jig to cut the shims? Not really, but I use my crosscut sled on my saw. So I sort of do. I nail a little guide block to my crosscut sled to cut them, and I'll show you what Doug is talking about. You know, if you do your math, 360 degrees and divided blah blah blah, this ends up being a 60-degree angle. And a lot of saws won't cut a 60-degree angle. If you put that on my miter saw, I think it will actually. But I also want this to be a nice accurate length, right? So I just put on my sled, I put a little stop block and an angled piece, and I'll just run it through the table saw. It's really easy.
Ian's talking to you here.
Off to shop this afternoon.
No, before that.
2 committee meeting this morning. Oh, geez. Wow, he sure does a lot. Boy, he sure does a lot for our industry and organization. I'm running out of energy for that stuff.
That's why he needs the tracking.
He needs that Bailey's to get a little bit of a. That's the nice thing about Zoom meetings. They don't know what's in your coffee cup. They don't know what's in your coffee cup. See, that makes a nice. Look at that, eh?
Perfect.
That nice rabbit joint, nice and tight, glued. That makes me proud. No, it's going to be just my equipment, you know.
It's going to be full. You're going to have your shop full.
It is. It is going to be full.
Oh, Travis, just when you use a cell phone, sometimes the quality can be really nice, and sometimes it's not, just depending on signal. Something I can edit into a video would be nice. Ian says he's going to turn on his refrigeration today and hold the shed for the next couple of weeks.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not having a problem keeping my shed cool.
Oh, 37 minutes ago, Corey put up a video checking out new equipment from Manitoba.
Ah,
So I'm sure your pallets are in there because
I'll
it's,
have to
I
watch
see
that
lots.
when I get done.
It's on Facebook.
Yeah, Corey does his videos on Facebook. Yeah. So if anybody looking for some interesting updates from Corey, look at his Facebook page. Nature's Sweet Bee.
I just saw it. It showed up in my feed, and I'm afraid that I can't scroll past it because if I scroll past it, I may never see it in my feed again, and then I'll forget about it.
Well, you have to. Well, you can go to his page. You know,
it'll get
page.
Lost. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I have to remember to go look at it at that point.
Yeah, that's one of my least favorite things about Facebook is you open Facebook and it's like, oh, that's interesting. It's gone.
Yeah. If you refresh it or something, it's gone.
Yeah. Or you leave an article open that you want to read and you come back. Oh, there's that art. Oh, it's gone.
Boy, that equipment does look really nice. Fresh out of the dipper. Brand new.
Yeah.
Woodenware.
Boy, it looks nice. Nice out of the dipper for sure. I hope he likes it.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward, Frank. The next time I go out there and split those mean hives up, it's not going to be good times. But I mean, I can already tell you, I can predict the comments. I don't even need a crystal ball. They're going to say, you need a smoker. You need to use smoke. That's all I ever get on those videos.
You should ask Ian. I taught him how to use a smoker.
With this truck when he runs over?
No, I taught him how to light a smoker, I think. I bug him about that. Because his video, you watch his videos, it's kind of like, oh, I forgot my smoker.
Sorry, I'm multitasking.
All right, I'm multitasking too. I'm thrilled that people have joined us in the shop. I just working here all by myself, so it's nice to have company.
Bob needs to use a flamethrower. You got that right. The funny thing is, if you've had bees that are that aggressive, I could light the hive on fire, and I think they'll still cut through it.
You just have flaming bees coming to get you.
Little
flaming bees.
Sky raisins. I mean, they don't give a darn to keep it G-rated. They really don't.
They would have horns. They would have little Satan horns on them.
Most people would kill the hive, but if I killed those 3 hives, I would be killing the majority of my colonies. So
yeah, that's a tough call.
Split them down, give them new queen cells. See what happens, right? That's the thing. I mean, I could take my camera out and video it, but I already know what the comments will be. They're too mean. I would kill those bees. Or Bob, light your smoker. Use the smoker.
And you need a tripod.
You need a tripod. That's all. So it's
hey, Robert,
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Thanks for the tip, Robert. I really appreciate that.
But these new queens are supposed to be really good queens. They're pole line. So I've never had pole line. So if anybody has experience with those, I'd be interested in hearing what their experience is.
Larry Connor talk about pole line.
I don't. Is that a Polish line of bees? Is that where the pole comes from, or is it from something else?
My gut says no, but I don't know for sure. Robert has a question here. 6 framers. I don't need more than 1 box high with a queen excluder before they share the honey super. Don't want my queens killed by their neighbors. No, you don't need more than 1. However, I do know people who do run more than 1. They'll run 2 6s. See, how do they do it? I think they run 1 brood chamber, queen excluder, and then another 6, and then the 2 10s on top of that. And that's so that there's a little more separation. There's a little more separation for that pheromone, because if you just run 3 6s side by side, queen excluder, and then a shared 10 on top of that, there is enough pheromone influence from one hive to another. The queens aren't in danger, but if one of those queens dies or they want to get rid of her or something, they don't requeen very well because they don't get into that emergency.
Well, I'll even go a step further. Not only do they not requeen very well, they don't requeen at all.
I was going to say at all, but there's always exceptions.
Yeah, super strong is better.
Yeah. And that's why I stopped using the shared 10s. I used to do 2 10-frame hives and then a 10-frame stack in the center so that I could have a small lid on the side to access the brood chamber during the honey flow without lifting boxes. And that worked really well, except I had a lot of colonies going queenless and not requeening. So I stopped doing that.
Robert said, can you still do it with 2 frames? I don't understand the question. I've had side-by-side 2 framers, queen mating nukes, that have come back, and I didn't have anywhere for them to, like, they weren't strong enough to move yet. And I actually put a queen excluder and a 5-frame box on top of those before. Starter nukes.
Can you share a honey super with 2-frame starter nukes? Is that your question? I don't see why not. I've never done that. They don't seem to care. Like once it's a honey super, once it's outside the brood chamber, they don't seem to care. And they do kind of go straight up. They don't come through that excluder and suddenly go sideways.
Right.
They kind of just go straight up. I've actually had situation where I'll have a weaker colony on one side, stronger on the other, so the honey super gets filled on this side, sort of thing. So I'll just take that off and flip it around so that the strong colony now has more empty comb above them, and they don't seem to mind me doing that.
Dan says he's eating his lunchtime orange and watching us. Lunchtime enjoyment.
Well, thanks for joining. Nice to have company in the wood shop.
I could do that as well. I could take those cells and make 6 1-frame splits.
Well, I would view that as more of a time, something buying you some time, like kind of banking those queens.
I mean, this time of year, I could
mating nukes,
2 frames and a 5-frame and put a queen cell and just let them go, and that would be perfect.
Well, they're mating nukes to start with, so
right. Then you don't have to move them again; just let them start growing. I was talking to Brad last night, everybody. And I was when I was selling honey, I was looking over at the bees, and I was like, you know what? I forgot I have bees in that 5-framer right there. A nuke. All right, I never counted that nuke, and it's like, oh well, that nuke is now 5/5, and I haven't been back in it, so I've got to check that. So it's and that could be one of those that you just pull. She might have laid in the bottom and top. That might be one I could just separate into 2 5-framers and give them a sell.
Yeah, you guys, every year I'm talking with you guys, you're all managing bees already. I am 6 weeks away from seeing a brood frame.
Well, be careful
Maybe
what
more
you
than
ask
that.
for, because it'll
Maybe
be
more
here
than
before
that.
you know it.
Yeah, I'll be getting my ass kicked soon.
That's the thing. See, when I had nothing to do in my bees, I couldn't get a job to start me. As soon as I could have like tons of stuff to do in the bee yard, oh, we need you to come to work, and we need you to come to work from lunchtime till 9 at night, so you missed the whole bee day. You know, it's like, Jesus.
That's it. Well, count your blessings, though.
Yeah, I hate to say it'd be nice to go to work, but it'll be nice to get a paycheck.
It will be nice to get a paycheck. I kind of remember what that was like, but not sure.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been 11 years since I've had a paycheck. But you know what? My paycheck come to an end because of the doings of others. If my paycheck comes to an end now, it'll be my own doing.
Randy,
You know.
I got a job with the cable company in sales. But it's an hourly sales job plus commission or bonus, whatever you want to call it. So it's not like I was when I sold cars or something like that, where you're dancing for dinner every day. I mean, I'm sure there's quotas and goals you have to meet, but first 6 weeks is just classroom training anyway. So I'll just be fighting staying awake more than anything.
Check it out.
Look at you, man. Between your bottom boards and your boxes and your lids and now your bee escapes, you're gonna have to build a new shed.
I got a few things going on. These kind of got stalled. I started making these little covers. Where are they? Oh, they're way over here. I'm not really all that happy with them, but they'll work. Just a little for the mating nuke. Just a simple cover, 3/8 shim and 1/2 inch
just
plywood.
Put a feeder right in the top there.
Yeah, well, it's my standard bead plug, so everything works together, right? So, but I ran out of plywood, so I've got more plywood in the truck now. If I get to that point, I can start making lids again. It's too bad that I'm not making them out of 3/8 plywood, because I have plenty of offcuts here. Can you still see me? I can't see the screen. From the escapes. These are like 3/4 of an inch too small to make an escape out of.
But you could probably make 2 lids out of it for your thing, or 4.
I could make quite a few. Yeah, but they're 3/8, and I was making my lids out of 1/2 inch. Maybe my lids will be.
MDH Farm says, I'm really hoping you can ship those nukes to Kentucky.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, can I? Yeah, sure. Can you justify the cost? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I looked at a price. Check this out. So I looked at a price to have 1 bucket of honey sent to me. The bucket of honey was a really good price, but it was $100 to ship a 5-gallon bucket of honey. $108.
Yep.
So it doubled over. Well, it didn't over double, but you know what I mean. It darn near doubled the price.
Everything moves on diesel fuel, my friend.
I need to get Charlie to go pick me up some honey so I can fill my creamer up when he comes down.
Give Charlie the $100, he'll do it.
Yeah, but I could get him to fill his whole back of his pickup truck up as compared to one bucket.
Well, exactly. Give him the $100 and have him fill the truck.
Pay his gas on the way down. Brad, if I ever afford the cost of shipping, I'm going to employ your woodworking services, DC said.
Thanks. Thanks, DC. Appreciate the support. I really do enjoy it. You know,
Especially we can hang out with Bob almost every day.
if I'll say if I could, I'd do it for for cost of material kind of thing, but I gotta have a little bit. I mean, if I'm not doing this, I really need to go and get a winter job, go work at a gas station or something.
My honeybees are already a not-for-profit business.
Yeah. Well, my business is not a not for profit, but it's a non-profit.
Yeah. Non-profiting business.
Definitely. Oh, appreciate the kind words. MDH. Willing to pay shipping fees to support me. I really appreciate that.
Hey, you know what? You could just stack all those boxes up and you could just turn that little lid into a bee escape for your mini mating nukes. Just run them straight up, like have all the comb drawn out in one time.
Yeah. I will say, he was undecided how many he wanted, but I will say that try to illustrate what I want to say. I won't send you the one I just dropped. Make some room here to illustrate what I want to say. You might want to decide how many you want in multiples of 4. Okay. Because, okay, so these are built so that they are very close. They're not exact, but they're very close to a quarter of a 10 frame box.
A 7/8
And
10 frame box.
well, they are a 7/8 10 frame box. These are made of 3/4. You're right, 7/8 10 frame box. So what I want to say is, when you get these little frames, you need to draw those. Right. So what you want to do, the easiest way I've found to draw those, and it sometimes puts your use of these for mating nukes behind one season, because you take those things, you fill them up with the frames, put this on as a honey super, have them fill that with honey, and they'll draw those out nicely. So if you only had 2 of these, that's going to be more difficult for you to just mechanically just to do that. So that's why I would say, and I can probably ship 4 of these for the same price as I could probably ship 8 of these for the price I could ship 6, right? Because it's going to go in that size of box anyway. So that's my only suggestion. I'm not trying to upsell you or anything. I'm just trying to get you the best value for your money.
Yeah, it wouldn't 4 fit on a deep. And could you use one migratory cover to cover all those? Just, I mean, without a shim, obviously. If it was just a flat migratory cover.
Theoretically, well, it wouldn't matter if it had a shim.
Well, if you had a shim around the outside, then they could crawl up and over the boxes on the inside, right?
Yeah, a migratory cover will work on those because lengthways they're exactly half size. Widthwise they're a little wider than half because you need that extra space for the frames for management space. But a migratory cover would. I know a guy who uses exactly that design and he uses migratory covers.
You know, you could
For that.
probably put 4 of those on a deep. Now, hear me out before you shoot me down and all you naysayers in the comments. No, I'm just kidding. So you could probably just put 4 of those over a deep. They would come up and she would come up and lay it up, right?
Well, you can do that, and that'll
then just
populate
pull
your
them
mini.
all 4 off, and then you got 4 mini mating nukes that you could basically walk away, split them.
Yep. Your only challenge with that is just finding the queen,
right?
Because one of the easiest ways to rid those of the queen is to shake all the bees off. But you want the bees, right? You want the bees in your mini.
Yeah, you'd have to shake the bees off, put an excluder, put it back, let them come.
Well, you could do that or just find the queen, right? I've done that, and it does work, but it's not quite as slick as you might think because of the queen. You need to make sure you know where she is. Sure, you could just slide, like DC says, you could just slide queen excluder under those minis, come back in 3 days, and then look for the eggs.
You figure there would be a she would channel, like if the middle, right? She would run straight the frames in the middle. So
well, when I did that, I found that she kind of laid up maybe 1 or 2 of them and didn't lay up the other ones, and that works best too if the comb is already drawn, because if she's got a drawn comb, she's far more likely to go and lay it, and it has a lot to do with your particular area, your particular flow. We don't get a flow for months after the bees start being active, so drawing comb isn't a thing here in April. Really hardly even in May. I've tried to force them. I've fed them. I've tried to. They just don't want to do it. Yeah. So think about that. I have to work out I don't even know what my price is on those things. I'll try and make it reasonable, but
it's the bee business.
You get the little reasonable. Well, you get the little styrofoam Chinese ones, and they're $30, and I hope nobody really takes me to task if I don't compete with the Chinese, because that's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's one of those things where they it used to be we'd buy Chinese because it was cheaper, but now it's not even really cheaper. It's like they've raised their prices right up to where the other stuff is, right? And then it's like, well, if I'm paying that much, then I'm going to get,
People hear me complain about Max and Hive tools all the time, and I wish Max would get with it and start making Hive tools and just tell me what they want, because I'll pay a lot more than what they were selling for before. But beekeepers, I go to my bee supply and I buy the Max and Hive tool, which is, if you've never used one, they are way superior to anything coming out of China. And there was the Chinese ones for $8, and there was the Maxent ones for $15 at that time.
Right.
And I was buying the Maxent ones. And then I went in the store one day and I said, "Where's my Hive tools?" They said they always stopped making them. They couldn't compete. Well, guess what? Now the store is right full of Chinese Hive tools. Guess what the price is?
$15
or more. So you're paying the same price as you were paying for the good Hive tool, and you're not getting a good hive tool.
They do.
Tell me that wasn't planned by, the manufacturers. Gotcha. So anyway, I am, you can tell I'm a bit bitter about the whole Chinese destroying our manufacturing industry issue.
Well, we gave it to them.
We did. We absolutely gave it to them. Lock, stock, and barrel. Willingly.
We talked about this the other night. It was like at one time, even Walmart, that was their thing. They were selling here it was American-made products, and then someone caught them one time with some foreign products in there or whatever. And then it's like, oh well, prices, this and that. We want to give you the best deal. But
and maximize profits.
Yep. Yeah.
But let's be positive. I would like to be positive.
Yep. I'm positive
that
Chinese hive tools suck, is what you're saying.
I'm positive that Chinese hive tools suck. I'm positive that I want a Max and hive tool. I bought a Man Lake hive tool at the convention. I actually bought two. They're the paint scraper style, but they're not a paint scraper. They're a hive tool, and it's a nice length hive tool. I actually have it around here. Where is that? Might be over on my beekeeping shelf. Right beside my swarm rustler.
So you can catch those high quality swarms.
That's right. My made in Canada swarms. Okay, so
you actually did use it, but you didn't catch any swarms. You used it for something else though.
Well, yeah, an attractant. But anyway, this is my Man Lake HD 588 hive tool. It doesn't look like much, but you see how big it is. It's nice and long. It's 9.5 inches long, and it's not sharp on the edges, like a little sharper than the Max and hive tool. Because I work with no gloves, so I've cut myself with those Chinese hive tools.
Right.
It's a little bit sharp up at the front here, where it's painted. I guess the paint helps. But the big thing about it is, I can't bend it. Like I can't bend it. I've tried to bend it over, and that's what that's what I'll do. If anybody in any store wants to sell me a hive tool and they say, here, you should buy this hive tool, I'll say, okay, if I can't bend that, I'll buy it. But if I bend it, I'm going to hand it back to you. And they're okay. And I just in front of them, I'll grab it, give it a good reef. And I did that to a store one time, and it was pretty good, but I still bent it. And I'm not talking over my knee or anything. I'm just talking like this. And
if you can do it like this, you put 100 pounds on there and a honey suit.
Absolutely. And so I put a little curve in it and I handed it back. I don't want that hive tool. If I can bend it just with my hands, nope. Not gonna buy that. I've been searching. I actually bought a flow hive tool. And it's a J-hook hive tool, just like the Maxent one I'm used to.
That's one of the benefits of getting poor honey harvest like we do in the States. We can use Chinese hive tools. You don't have to worry about them bending. It's too light.
Heavy supers. The flow hive one was better than the typical Chinese one that I get. But I can still bend it. It's thicker. I don't think it's any harder, but it's thicker. So it doesn't really, and that's the thing. It's an extra process to heat treat and harden up the hive tool. And the cheap manufacturers, they don't want to do that. That's extra expense. It's just mild steel.
DC says he wants his to break before it bends. He says if it chips instead of bending, it means it was tempered at least.
Yeah, exactly. It'll break. You're exactly right. It should break, not bend. I'll tell you what is a really hard hive tool that I've never been able to bend. Not only just in my hands, but I've put it in something and tried to bend it. Can't bend it. It's the Hive IQ hive tool. That's a $40 hive tool in my world, but I can't bend it.
For
So
me, I would buy one of them $40 ones, and then next thing you know, I'd lose it. It
you
would
got to
be
keep
gone
track
somewhere.
of them for sure. I've lost so many of my Maxim hive tools, it really annoys me. I haven't used the Hive IQ hive tool enough to know if I really like the design, because the design is a bit different than the straight Maxim J-hook hive tool.
Right.
See, that's cool. That's the difference in quality here. The guy will actually get the clamp out to make the joint tighter. Oh, air compressor.
Compressor brake. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, 200 supers. Woo! Food boxes to protect the stay in storage this season. The gosh, I got so much stuff in here. Robert, that stuff's called Hygienic Boost. And it's $20 for a pouch. You mix in your pump sprayer and it'll treat 10 supers, so 100 frames. Doing too many things.
Doing too many things.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a little wagon to put my stuff on. Oh, and I just dropped it on my foot. These little wagons. I'll show you. Little cart. When you buy them in the store, it says that it's a rating of 1,000 pounds, but see, there's a difference between 1,000 pound rating from China and 1,000 pound rating from USA. 1,000 pound rating in USA will collapse under about 5,000 pounds. 1,000 pound rating for China it collapses at 1,000 pounds. And so anyway, there's these little carts. I put the plywood filler in them. But the thing about them is I buy them for about $15 to $17. And the casters on them, if I buy those in the store, they're about $9 a piece. So I really buy them for the casters, but then I don't take the casters off. I just use the wagon. I can put my bee escapes on the wagon because I don't like making a stack of equipment in the shop that's going to be then static and in the way.
Doug said, looking outside, he thinks he put his sled away too soon.
I'm so glad I recut all this lumber. These grooves were so tight. Now they just slip right together.
Your hives are like cabinet grade. They're furniture grade beehives.
Yeah, kind of. Well, I can't help it, right? Because that's sort of where I learned my woodworking is is building furniture. So when it comes to joinery, it's sort of okay. Well, what kind of joinery should this have? I do try, but oops, wrong way. I can't help it sometimes. No, you got to do it. Got to do it right.
Well, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it right.
Well,
or as my dad would say, otherwise you'll be doing it twice because I'm going to make you take it hard and do it again.
I remember when I was working, maybe this, well, I don't have that job anymore. We were in a meeting one time and developing a new process or, trying to do something. And I said, well, this, I think this is the way it should be done, whatnot. And then I got a bunch of pushback on that. I said, well, I've noticed that when we do things in this company, we never have time to do it right, but we always have time to do it again.
Right.
The room went silent. Not a big fan of, far rather spend my time doing it, what the best I can. Maybe it's not right, but maybe it's the best I can. I'm just not a big fan of doing it over again. Doing it over is just a huge waste of time and effort and energy, expense. That's just me. Not everybody shares that.
Robert wanted me to send a link, and when I look at my website and other people look at it, I see different. Let me see if I can. Well, where is it? Somewhere. Why don't I see it? Oh, there it is. All right, I don't know if it's going to let me post a link on this chat or not, but we'll try. Maybe. Yeah, it did. Okay, there you go. There you go, Robert. I think it says I got 8. I hope I have 8.
What's he buying?
He's looking for the stuff to put on your comb to protect it from wax moss.
Oh, yeah. Hygienic boost.
Says he's got a bunch to store. So
cool.
Send it to him.
So we're looking forward to this charity event this weekend. That's always a good time. They have a nice meal. They prepare a nice meal for you. It's the kids. The kids that the charity is set up for, they get together and they serve the meal. That's really nice. Nice. It's usually a nice turkey dinner, I think.
Doug says you need good quality bee escapes. I find they seem to get a lot of abuse.
They can. And, that's one of the things that it seems to me, the ones with the cones, it has a lot more screen. And I myself have damaged those, thrown a queen excluder, perhaps, especially a metal queen excluder, and it'll go right through that screen. And now I've got to repair it. So it's just, why I make my choices. Maybe I'm a little too hard on equipment.
That's because you like building new ones.
Yeah. Yeah. I like nothing more. This is almost like building boxes, though. So.
And I know how you like building boxes.
We can't get too carried away with that word like. Yeah, I'm not a. For those who don't know that reference to that, I am not a fan of building boxes. I don't like to build boxes at all.
It's the Honey Bucket Sealer 5000.
What?
Your mallet.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're using that to bash the lids onto the buckets. That's a funny mallet. If you've ever worked with beech is I think it's a weed kind of a tree. It's kind of like our poplars in like Russia and Eastern Europe and stuff, I think. And that's beech. And you can take that mallet and bash anything you want to bash. And it's not going to split or splinter or anything, but it doesn't hardly weigh anything. It's super light, but it's super hard and it doesn't splinter. So it's a perfect wood for a mallet, in my opinion.
Mark Miller says, Brad, what do you drill that hole with?
I'll show you. Money. That's what I drill that hole with.
With money.
You can drill that hole with a hole saw. I don't like hole saws because they're too clumsy to use. I'll show you what I drill that hole with. It's a 2 3/4 inch hole.
Robert, I sprayed my frames one time 6 months ago. And it worked fine. And Mehmet says it should last 6 months on treatment. Plus you're treating it in, you're putting them inside, so.
Look at this bad boy.
That's heavy duty there.
2 3/4 inch Forstner sawtooth bit. That's nearly $100 for that one bit. That's a big bit. And boys, it'll work nice. You don't want to drop that on the floor.
How much is one of those?
I tried to look it up today and I didn't see it listed at Lee Valley where I got it. Because what it is you make a little project like this. You buy this clock, or you can get the weather station instruments and stuff from Lee Valley, and then that's the bit for making the cutout for that. It's 2 3/4. They had a bigger one. They had a 3 7/8 bit there like this, and it was listed $100. So in perspective, I paid $400 for my drill press, and the bit is nearly $100.
Gary, I don't know as far as pollen in the frames, packed in the frames. If you got pollen in the frames that you need to save, I would just freeze it. But the spray is all natural, so it's not chemical at all. So it should be fine. But you didn't hear that from me. Because I've never used it in that situation, because last fall was the first time that I've used it, so I can't really.
Should.
Yeah, I don't really have
should. With that. Will this kill my bees? Well, it shouldn't.
It shouldn't. But you know, I kill more bees than anything that I put in the thing. All I gotta do is open them, and they sting me to death.
Yeah,
they commit hara-kiri.
People try to sell you something. Well, it should work. Well, should.
Well,
oh well, okay. If it doesn't work, then you should give me my money back.
Yeah, all I can say is I haven't experienced that because I haven't used it long enough. I only used it last fall. And I only have 8 packs by my inventory, if my inventory is accurate. But don't worry about it. I can get more if need be. You're just like an assembling machine.
I am. I appreciate the company. Once I get my mojo on, get a process and get things that work.
Work is so interesting. I could watch it all day long.
I could, yes.
If I had a cold beer and back in the day a cigarette, I'd be right in my element.
Watching me work.
Just watching you work.
You know, I don't mind work. I do enjoy downtime, but I don't mind work. You know, people over the decades, I realized that maybe I was a bit of a workaholic when people would ask, so what do you do in your spare time? And I'd just say, well, I work. I work at this and I work at that and I work at something else. It's just me. People look at me and they think I sit on a couch all day. Well, that's not true. I don't.
I did more this morning than I probably have done in like 3 days.
Yeah. Well, and you know, I was saying to my wife, I said this to her a number of times, and I was saying it on Saturday night when I was so sore after we packed all that honey, and you know, we said I lifted 4,200 pounds of honey that day, and oh, I was sore. Oh, I was sore and wore out. But I said to her, it's a good sore though, because I know I earned it,
Right.
right? I know I worked for it. I accomplished some things. I did good, right? So when I think of, oh my goodness, am I ever sore? Uh, you still get that. To me, you get that dopamine that I'm sore. I earned that. I did the right thing.
You accomplished the mission.
And you know,
I mean, that's the thing, though. I mean, you feel good when you knew how much honey you needed to take to the. I'm gonna call it a show. It's not a show, but to the fundraiser that you got it done, right? You had X number of pounds of honey you had to bottle, and you got them bottled. So
you just, and you know that well too. That's beekeeping too, right? Because it's sort of when the weather lines up and the bees are, you know, in need, you get her done. You don't stand around and complain about.
Well,
Gee,
unless there's a Woodshop live, and then I sit in here with bread.
Eat. But
you know,
with you at all.
Like this. This is something that I really like about these chats and all together, you know, people's live streams, because I knew nothing about these, right? You knew nothing about these until you had Kevin came up to the show, and then you tried them, and then these are really good. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'll try it. And it you know, so now we got another line item.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't mind. I'm sure he won't.
You know, he's way in Nebraska. I'm down here in South Carolina, so I don't think I'm infringing on his business at all.
Not even in his country. Not yet, anyway.
Man, why do you have to do those things?
What?
Poke the bear. You're just poking the bear. You know I'm a short fuse, Brad. You're gonna start some BS like you just did right there, and I'm gonna go off. You know what you did, because that's
I don't know what you think I said.
Like a hyena over there, huh?
I don't know what you think I just said.
You said I don't even live in his country, not yet, anyways.
Yeah.
And that's a jab to the 51st state thing, which will take me a whole squirrel moment off to the side.
Who's to say I wouldn't do it willingly, though?
Well, hey,
if things don't go well here on the 5th of May, I might be applying for refugee status or something.
It made me laugh, Brad. Michael.
If you all would have me.
Yeah. Hey, did you hear?
I hear North Dakota is nice this time of year.
Did you hear Ireland's charging the states 125% tariff until they agree to take Rosie O'Donnell back?
Enough of that talk.
You started it. Usually it's me, but it was you this time. I was trying to walk the straight and narrow.
It was actually a commentary against my own country. Not about anything to do with yours.
But it just played right in.
It did.
No, Frank, it's not teeth, it's mixed nuts. This one looks like there's some almonds right there. and there's some cashew in there,
Hard teeth.
and peanuts, and hazelnuts, and all kinds of nuts, and cinnamon honey.
So were those salted nuts?
They were sea salted nuts.
Okay.
So now you can try my cinnamon toasty salted nuts. I actually had somebody say, save me a jar of those. Usually when they say save me a jar of those, it could be 2 years, right? Matter of fact, I need to take this jar and save it and see how hard it gets before they come and get it.
Yeah, I met this guy a couple of years ago, and he's a really nice guy, and he bought some honey. I don't remember how much honey he bought for me. I think he bought quite a bit, but it was kind of funny. He phoned me today, and he says, yeah, I got to get more honey. I'm almost out. I haven't heard from you in 2 years. I was going to say, well, you don't eat it very fast.
Right. Coming by another 5-gallon pail.
But I think he's the kind of guy who buys quite a bit at a time, so I don't remember what he bought last time.
Well, here's an interesting fact. The guy that came to buy that $130 worth of honey from me this morning, his son keeps bees.
His son what?
His son keeps bees. And I said, I thought your son kept bees. He says, well, he tries. I said, oh, okay, what's that mean? He says, well, I think he started with bees and then he doesn't have any bees right now. So
well, there's a lot of people like that.
To the best of us.
A lot of people like that. I sell honey to beekeepers because they like my honey better than they like their own, and that's no lie. No lie.
It's different than
yeah, it's
normal.
It's unique. Yeah, for sure.
I'll tell you what, if I was wealthy, I think I would probably use the Bob Benny model. Pack honey.
Well, he didn't start that business being wealthy. You know, right. He does okay now, but you know, I mean, he's fought for every dollar.
Yeah, exactly.
Businessman.
I mean, you don't have to be wealthy to start it, but you can't be broke like I am.
Well, you listen to his story. He came from modest means, right? So he's a good story.
Yeah, I was interested when you were telling me that, and I'm not going to tell Bob's story because it's Bob's story, right? We'll let Bob tell the story.
That's right.
But
but he at one point.
But he's definitely not from where I thought he was from.
He's definitely not. When we were talking here, we were visiting, and he just at one point I was kind of telling him my story and whatnot, and he just, in Bob's way, he just kind of leaned toward me and he said, "It sounds to me like you need to start buying honey." And I said, "Well, I think you're right." I think he is right.
It just amazes me because every year I've made more honey than the year previous. And every year I run out. But it's close to harvest, right? It might be a month before harvest or something, but I run out. And this year, I haven't been out there on the street near as much as I have in the past. And I'm still in jeopardy of running out. Well, and part of that is because I took up creaming honey. So now I'm dividing it between runny honey and regular honey. But it's definitely
North Dakota has blizzard warnings.
Yeah, you need to blizzards over
tornadoes.
A little bit further south.
Blizzards over tornadoes and hurricanes anytime.
Just don't come down here, right? Unless you're just visiting, because you get crap honey if you're going to keep bees down here. When I say crap honey, the honey's good. The amount of honey you get is bad.
Yeah.
So it's
it's
just staying ahead of
a lot of North Dakota is canola anyway. So.
I wonder how much North Dakotans sell their canola honey for. They probably sell it to a like Subi or somebody.
Yeah, Subi is the big one.
Now, why are you clamping this one up? I haven't seen you really clamp any.
I started clamping them. They're just getting the joint nice and tight, reliably. You know, just me. I mean, I can put them together, but if the board is maybe a little warped or something.
Talking about honey though, and honey sales, when I started selling honey here at the table, it was a lot of word of mouth on social media, people telling people, right? And it's starting to happen now with the flavored honey. Oh, I see.
Well, that's the other way though. So that'll take. That's the same way the staple is driven. So that's just a little bit of a tappy tap tap. And that goes together.
And that's the difference between your woodwork and my woodwork. I mean, there's lots of differences, but when I do it, that would have just stayed.
Yeah,
it wouldn't.
And if it just stayed, it won't make particle difference through the lifetime of that equipment. It's just me. I sleep better at night than that.
Well, I just wouldn't have caught it, right?
Yeah.
My ADD would have had me on to the next one. I just need to get these done. It doesn't matter as long as they're together.
Yeah, you're a very D personality. You're very, very.
When it comes to stuff like that, for sure.
Do it. I'm very D, but I'm very C. I'm very C personality. I'm a high C, meaning detailed. I need to figure out what's the right way, and I need to make sure I do it the right way. It's just my personality. People find it frustrating. I'm a lot like Sheldon Cooper, actually. I'm a law like Sheldon Cooper.
When it, some stuff though, like if it's like I try to implement stuff like when we've talked about even expanding the creamed honey and stuff like that, I try to move forward on it. Once I make a decision, I go, right? Sometimes it takes me a bit to get to that point, but sometimes I don't. I'll say, "Up, I want those," and I just get it, or some, whatever, like that. But not a bunch of thought into that. It either works or it don't. Let's go.
Yeah, you're an action guy, right? And I have a lot of that too. And the problem, the conflict that I have is my detailed side clashes with my action side all the time. My detail side is, okay, let's diagram that. No, let's start cutting lumber, we got a truckload of lumber. Let's diagram this. No, let's start cutting things. No, you know what happened last time? Yeah, I know. Right. I'll tell you that combination of SketchUp and cut list has saved me tons of money.
Sorry, my phone is.
When I diagram
things. Honey tail. Hold on, I'm gonna mute myself.
Go ahead. So I was just saying that when I diagram things with SketchUp, I can take this stuff and I can cut my grooves and my lengths and my rabbets and things and cut my plywood, and I can be confident that it's going to all fit together when I go to. I don't have to do as many dry fits. I don't have to do as many, and I don't make nearly as many mistakes. I make hardly any mistakes as far as that goes. So one of the biggest mistakes I make is, this is a perfect example. When I cut material, I'll try to cut it too accurately. This is an example of that. Now I flush this on the bottom, so you can see how that plywood is shy of that piece. Now properly, it should be flush here, but I made that short intentionally just to aid in assembly if there's any irregularities, because this piece has to go on there like this. So when I slide that in, that joint, it's actually a little bit shy. So what happens is that piece of plywood will sort of float in there a little bit. There's a little bit of room, and there's no reason there shouldn't be. If I were to make that exactly the right size, I could run into more assembly problems than I'm experiencing right now. So that's one of the things that those programs kind of encourage me to do, is make things a little too perfect as far as sizing goes. And these rabbets too, these grooves that I made, right? I got those worked out. 3/8 plywood. I set the old saw up. I cut those 3/8. Boy, I can get it in there, but it was tight. It was really tight. I actually broke a couple pieces, and I thought, okay, she's going through the saw again. I took another 30-second off of there, and now
It's perfect.
I can get this together. It is sometimes it is tight because this piece of plywood is worked, right?
That was a person calling me wanting nukes
Yes.
from an hour away from me, over an hour away.
They're having a hard time finding nukes.
Yeah, I told him. I said, well, normally I would sell a nuke or two. I said, but due to winter losses, kind of a rebuild year. So I gave him some. Normally, what I would have done is send him to Sam.
Yeah.
But Sam's not in any better shape than I am right now.
Yeah.
As far as bees,
Well,
so.
That's why he's calling an hour away, because everybody's telling him the same thing.
Yep.
Or at least he's hearing that a lot.
And he's said he had 3 colonies, so he's not like gonna, hey, I need 10 or something like that.
Yeah. And sometimes you can help a guy out if he just needs a couple.
I could have helped him out with 3. I should call him back and say, and then I could have split those pissed off ass bees and take the queens and give them 3 nukes.
Give me 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, I just take the queen and everything right out of the box. Give him 3 pissed off ass.
Do that to a new beekeeper.
Well, he has colonies already, so he's not first year.
Yeah.
He'd never come buy nukes for me again. I guarantee him that.
That's right.
You know what, though? I bet you he'd get them home and they would be nice, because all the forager bees would fly back to the mother colony, and he would have 3 nukes of nice bees until they blew up into a double deep, right?
Yeah.
Or in my case, it could be a 2-frame mating nuke. They'd come out and try to kill me.
Shooting doubles.
It's 1 p.m.
It's 1 p.m.
No, it's not. It's 2 p.m.
Yeah. Magic of Canadian invented time zones. I think it was a Canadian guy who worked for the railway, invented time zones.
Oh, I haven't split that much, Gary. I've made 2 splits so far. One on accident. Well, it was not an accidental split. It was accident that I moved the queen with the split.
It was an accidental walkaway.
Yeah. That was the accidental flyback split. And then the other one I made on purpose because it was a clean cell. And Doug says, no, it's only 12 o'clock.
Doug.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, DC. I could have made $600 right there just by selling them 3 pissed off queen nukes.
Doug's lucky he lives in the land of no daylight saving time.
It just, oh, none?
Yeah, no daylight saving time for Doug. All the places, Saskatchewan, you know.
Well, they got enough daylight for everyone. They didn't need to save any. You guys have daylight till like 11 o'clock at night, it seems like.
Yeah, that's the kind of the funny thing here. In the winter, Manitoba time is the same as Saskatchewan time. And Saskatchewan time is the same as Alberta time. In the summer, Manitoba is different than Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan's the same as Alberta. Did I say that right?
I don't know. I assume.
In the winter, Saskatchewan's different than Alberta, and in the summer, Saskatchewan's the same as Alberta, but different from Manitoba. That's how it goes. We used to leverage that as kids because we used to get the same TV channel from two different transmitters. One was Manitoba, and one was Saskatchewan. So you could watch you can watch in the one province, and then if you like the show, you want to see it again, you just change the channel and you watch it all over again.
Different time zone. That's like
But that didn't work in the winter, only in the summer.
Well, they used to have like, and they still do, HBO East and HBO West, right?
Yeah.
For the coast.
Yeah.
So you used to be able to do that too, right? Oh, I missed it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll switch it to West Coast and I can watch it in a little while. But now they run the same things, just at different times. So.
Yep.
DC said, I have no idea, Brad. I'm going to say sure.
He's on the wet.
Sure.
He's on the wet coast. He doesn't have that experience.
Oh my gosh.
He's only got one side that has population. The other side only has fish.
Damn, why didn't I think faster? I should have called that guy. Well, how many do you want? I mean, I've got Pro Nukes.
Oh, Bob.
Freshly marked queens.
Settle down.
Could have had them all set up.
You concentrate on your own apiary.
Yeah.
Remember? We talked about this.
But it's $600, Brad. US. That's like 3.5 million Canadian.
It is. It is. Yeah. Yes, it is.
It's too late.
I
I done
understand.
gave. Stick to the plan. That's right.
You do have to stick to the plan.
I'm 3 colonies better off if I just.
Because if you're going to use that logic, then when you get that $600, you have to send it to Canada. So you already have my address.
Right. So this is your whole day right here. John Jacob Jinglehammer Schmitting.
Over and over.
Over and
Yeah,
over.
and then I gotta cut. Let's see. I don't know. I can't even do the math. Almost 150 of these and 150 that are not this long. So that's my day. It's really exciting. Okay, I don't have a bunch of stuff tearing me away from home this week.
You hear this? What Doug just said? I could take a girl from Manitoba out, drop her off at home, and be back to mine a half hour before her. So when you brought her home late, you could say, "Oh, you meant Manitoba time."
So you both had the same curfew, and you took her home early, and you actually got home early too.
Then you went
Or
and picked
something.
your second girlfriend up and took her out for an extra half an hour.
That's right. That's right. I think that's what he means. Isn't that what you mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. So we didn't have to pack that much honey just for the charity event, but I needed some liquid pails. I don't sell pails in stores, and I sell liquid pails like direct, and I don't need to get those packed by the certified packer, so it saves me money. Pack them at home, and I don't pack. So I packed some 3 kg, 5 kg pails and some 1 kg jars. I don't pack the small jars because nobody ever comes here and buys a 1 pound jar. You know,
Right.
they hardly ever buy even the 2 pound jar. They normally buy pails when they come here. Air compressor.
Oh my gosh! Good, great, good.
Okay, done now. Yeah, what was I saying? I'm almost done my new lumber now. Then I'll get into the old stuff, the old plywood that I cut up. It's nice to be able to use just stuff that's been lying around for decades. Some of that stuff has been here for a long time. It's good use for it. I don't use 3/8 plywood very often. We didn't even, you know what we didn't do? See, I'm working here at the bench. We didn't even share a link. You want to share a link?
Share a link. You want to? You want me to
Sorry,
post the link
everybody.
up?
Yeah. Share the link.
I don't know if I can pin it or not.
Well, you share it, and then I can go over there and pin it.
I will try though.
Oh yeah, because I have to pin it on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, I can't pin it, but there's the link.
Okay, I'll go do that.
I mean, we've been going almost 2 hours already.
Well, I was kind of thinking we've been going on almost 2 hours and nobody's come talk to us, but we didn't give them the chance. So come on in and talk if you want.
We're being anti-socialites today.
Sorry about that. Just getting in my groove here with building things, and I
got to
remember to be polite.
Robert ordered some of the wax moss stuff, and I got to go through my hordes of stuff over here. This room is such a disaster. I would fire me if I worked for another company and it looked like this. I would literally fire me.
That's bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, part of the reason is the swarm lure cases are huge for the bottles. So yeah. I might have more than 2,000 bottles over here. Oh hell. There's Frank.
What?
You ain't changing the transmission or something, Frank, are you, where we can't hear what you're saying?
Yeah, we have a no background noise law here.
I can't even see it, so it doesn't matter.
You can't see us?
No. I see StreamYard.
Bob's
people
case,
may
probably just as well.
Products, something, I don't know.
We see you.
Thanks.
You're on your roof.
I see a,
what are you doing on your roof?
Well, it was raining last night, pouring, and I noticed the spots in the ceiling are, they're not just stains, they're actually wet.
You have leakage.
So you're on your roof hunting down a leak, and then you decide to go on a live stream, Frank.
Well, I had to take a break. I'm getting old, so I saw you guys are live, so
you were one unique individual, my friend.
Did if it's like my house, did you see where the water's coming through the roof? Usually it's around
I went in the attic. It's like this big, and I could barely fit in there. And I saw the boards are all starting to grow like mushrooms.
Check around where the vent pipes come out. Those vent caps, the rubber on them, right there. You see where that pipe's coming out, and there's white around it.
Yeah. So the water is this beam right here. It wasn't this beam. So I found out that I put a couple. They don't make my shingles anymore. They make some kind of Canadian size.
Canadian size? They're metric or something?
Yes. Look at this. Why do we have to be Canadian? Look at this. Can you see that?
They're not Canadian. They're 51st state shingles. Don't you know?
51st state.
My 3-tab shingle. Look at that. 3 tabs is like almost 3 inches too big.
You somehow want to blame me?
Why don't they sell American size anymore?
Talk to Americans. You're in America.
They might have came from Mexico because all the roofers I see here are Mexican, so I don't know.
Yeah, they don't, I've checked all around, and nobody sells my size anymore.
You know, they make buckets of like tar too.
Yeah, I do. I do the tar. Look at this. You see that?
Yep.
Oh, look at that. A little bit of tape and some black stuff.
I mean, what did it cost about? Did you have a roofer quote how much it cost to repair?
What was it? Yeah, yesterday or the day before, some guy was trying to sell me solar panels, and he wrote on his estimate, "Your roof looks like it's in bad shape. We could help you out."
Probably.
And I'm like, "Oh crud!"
Probably 10 grand to do that roof at least.
Yeah, at least. I did one about 5 years or 10 years ago, and it was 11, and it wasn't even this big. But
I did my roof a few years back. And yeah, it cost plenty. I mean, I did it, and it cost plenty. I didn't hire somebody.
yeah,
Oh, you did it yourself? Yeah, the shingles are.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not cheap.
And we sheeted the whole roof too. We took everything off. We sheeted the whole roof with new. It was OSB. You know, you can think of it as plywood, but it's not plywood.
They have these panels now that are. They look like they're regular shingles like that, but it's actual metal. It's like a metal.
yes.
Roof. But instead
you
of
can
coming
get a
this
lot of
way,
that
it
stuff.
goes long way. But I'm sure that's not cheap either. But
My
No.
wife's afraid of those. She
Lasts a
says
long
you might
time.
hear the dancing.
well, if you were here, what they would do is they would go buy all the shingles and they would shingle, depending how many layers you have, they would shingle right over top of it.
Yeah, that's
And then you won't.
not a
Yeah,
good
'cause
idea.
don't you hear all the dingle dangle when it rains?
I don't. Oh, you talking about
I mean,
the
when
metal
you-
roof?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be a bit noisy, I think.
But yeah, roofs are not cheap at all.
Do it right. Boy, we did mine right. We put a lot of material into that.
Where's your OSHA approved harness?
It's down in the garage.
Well, at least you have one. That's the first step, Frank.
This roof is so shallow you could fall down and roll and never. I don't know. It's like a very slow pitch.
My roof is like this. It's almost a wall.
Oh,
So
yeah.
steep. It's a 14-12 at the front.
Dude, I did a
Crazy.
12-12 and 12-12, and I had to put the hangers every couple of feet because you can't walk on it.
So
Yeah,
you're gonna-
we put the roofing jacks with the platforms.
So
Yeah,
you're-
14,
That's a
12.
pain.
You could almost put
Yeah.
siding on that.
But your back don't hurt because you're just nailing right in front of you.
Pretty much. Yeah, you don't
So-
need to kneel down.
So
Yeah,
you
you're
just,
just like,
Frank, you're just spot replacing some shingles?
yes, because this is regular boards that are tongue and groove, and I got to resheathe this whole thing because what's happening is these shingles are splitting right down the centers here
Right.
because there's seams in the boards, and when you read the manual, it tells you that if it's individual boards, they move, your shingles are going to fail, and they're not going to warranty it.
I got
So
you.
it's got to be all plywood. Now, if you look on this side, that's the modern side of the house. That's all plywood. No problem. Beautiful. And then over here where they did an addition, this is all new plywood. But once you get over here to the original part of the house, right about here, this is where all the nightmare starts. And as you can, I just been patching it ever since we moved in. I told my wife, I said, this is what we're gonna do, and I just keep thinking about it. And I guess this is the year, since I don't have a job, might as well do it now. Before I was working so much, never had a chance to do anything. So
Yeah, now
I guess I have no
Problem is now, if it's like me, when you're working, you got the money to do those types of things, but no time.
No money.
And now,
Yeah, no money.
now you're not working. You don't have the money, but you got plenty.
Can't
of
have
time.
both. Can't have both.
But I can afford one of these. This is only like $30-some for one of these packs. So.
So you just gotta slide it under and nail it down and cut it to size.
Yes,
right?
and they're brittle. So you got to be
So
very
when you
careful.
peel it up, then you end up. Yeah.
And all the way up to the top. Yeah.
Yeah, it's no fun. I see you got the mushroom vent like I have on my house over there on the other side, the attic, electric attic vent.
Yeah. They're a joke and a half, aren't they?
Yep.
Let's see here. That guy.
Those things are like $200 to replace.
And they only last. Well, I had one. I only had maybe a year out of it, and it broke. The motors, they're in a hot attic. So the bearings are garbage.
They even have a solar-powered one now that you can replace it.
But did you look at the CFMs on them?
Mm-mm.
They're at 1/3. The CFMs is a motorized one. Is electric. So you're going to need 3 of them now. So you're paying twice as much times 3 to get the same CFMs.
That's
And it's based on the square footage of your whole house. How many CFMs of air movement you need.
I wonder if it's better just to put the ridge vent on the top.
That's what I've been doing with them. And that's the same thing. You based on the square footage. If you have enough ridge, you can do it. Those are for people that don't have. They have those roofs that have from all angles. There's no ridge.
Right.
They can't get enough. But it's got to be balanced because at the bottom you have a certain amount of air going in the eaves, and you have to have the same amount coming out the top. If it's not balanced, you won't have the flow. Kind of like a beehive.
Right.
And then you're stuck. Because a lot of guys will do these power fans, and they're not going to get any more flow because they don't have enough coming in.
I've got 2 of those on my house. One of them's functional.
Yeah, and they start making all the rattling noise.
Yeah, this house was built before AC, right? Nobody had central air when this house was built, but then they added it on after. But I still have that whole house vent in the center hallway. And I took 2-inch foam and cut a square and plugged that up to try to keep the AC down, because in the summertime when the attic got hot, that fan would come on and suck air up. Well, it's sucking it through the fan grate of my air conditioning that I just paid to put in here. So
Did that whole house fan actually have enough air going out the vents to actually move air, or?
if I turn that thing on and open the windows, it would suck a breeze through. But when it's 110 outside, you're just like sitting in a blow dryer.
What they call it, like a confectionery oven, they call them, where the air moves and cooks you?
Yeah, that's basically what it would do.
That's what I told people when I worked in the attics for air conditioning. They say, "Oh, you should get a fan." And they get these little fans to blow on you. I said, "Oh, that's great. So now I have hot air blowing on me and help cook faster."
Yeah, that's it. Get you done quicker. Fred, how many more of them things you got to do? It looks like your stack's going down.
I just started into the used plywood, and that means I have about 18 to do.
So you've done over
Okay.
half of them while we've been sitting here.
I've done over 20. Yes,
So you're doing 10 an hour.
that's pretty good.
I'm going to need you to pick up the pace if you want to get your paycheck this week. I've got, Corey wanting 100 two-way pallets. Ian looking for some more escapes.
Well, 3 years ago, Ian said, "Make me some of those bee escapes."
Oh, I'm.
This
he
is
was
the
probably
bee.
thinking about it. Frank's even got the roofing nail gun with the big cylinder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one of those.
Don't
We've done a
drop
lot
it
of
off the
roofing here.
roof. That was the first thing I did.
And this at the end we ended next week on Construction Workers Live.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
We
telling
get
you, Bob,
Woodshop
gotta get
live,
out the
and then we
steam
could have
factory.
on the roof live with Frank.
Watch Bob
Bob's
pour a
got-
concrete driveway.
Yeah.
Bob's got to get out there in the acupuncture highway.
Oh. Well, sometimes I pull that trigger wrong.
Hit my thumb with the staple.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. Keep your fingers away from that thing. All right.
I get more junk emails. Fred's stacking them right up.
Brad's running out of room again.
Yeah.
He keeps his
He needs a
place.
5-car garage.
Boy, I could fill a few more for sure. You kind of get less efficient the more space you have, though.
I'll agree with you. When we moved in here, my wife said, I don't want you to complain anymore. So I got this, I don't know, coop over here. Is that it?
Yep.
Chicken coop over there. Chicken coop back there. None of which I can get in.
How much land do you have there?
5 acres of stuff, but I don't know. The more space you have, the more you spend running around trying to find where you last left something.
I'm surprised you still don't do some AC work.
I got mad at my government.
Oh, taxes.
No, they want us to put in flammable refrigerants now.
Oh, I got
And you
you.
have to put in some
Okay.
type of thing that keeps people from burning their house down. And I'm like, I don't know, it might be legal, but I just don't feel right putting something in there to kill somebody.
Well, I mean, we got gas appliances that people run all the time, and that could burn your house down.
Yeah, but this, when it leaks, you can't control. You know, it's you don't really know when it's going to happen. It's not, doesn't have the smell that the other has. You only need 15% of that gas with the air, and it can be ignited. And you can't. It's not like a gas where you smell it and you just evacuate. This is like you don't know what's happening, and if it happens,
It just blows your house up.
yeah, it's just like sitting there. You don't know, and it's not. It can happen at any time, and it's not like you can shut it off because you can't fix the leak, and you can't turn off the gas outside the house. It's you're just gonna have to let it run its pace.
Right. Well, guys, we've been going for 2 hours and
It's over 2
roughly
hours now.
4 minutes. And I would love to sit here, but I need to get some stuff done. So what do you say we shut it down for today, Brad?
Thanks for taking time, Bob. Thanks for joining, Frank.
It's fun.
Thanks to everybody else who joined in the chat. Appreciate
And I
that.
gotta mail Robert's
Really?
package out.
I really like having the company in the shop.
All right, guys. Well, you have a good day. Brad, since you got glue on your fingers, I'm gonna click the end stream button.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Bob's gonna go order some queens.
Have a good afternoon, everybody.
All right, talk to you later.
Bye now.
Right here. Woo.